If you'd like to work along with me at home, open the Project Files folder, Lesson 5 folder, and then Formatting Details. And we're currently on the Numbers worksheet, where we're about to discuss the number group of the Home tab and formatting numbers. First off, we should know that if you don't make any changes to the formatting of a cell in a worksheet, then every cell is going to enjoy the general format. General format is an all-purpose format that can be used for numbers as well as text. To quickly determine the format that's been applied to a cell, simply click on the cell and look in the number format box here in the number group. I'm going to click in cell B1, and you can see that this has been formatted as general, which, as I said, is the default format. Let's compare that now to what happens when we format cell B2 as a number. To do that, we'll just click the drop-down arrow here and choose Number. Excel adds a decimal point and 2 zeros to the end. Let's compare that to currency. Here Excel adds a $, a comma, a decimal point, and 2 places to the right of the decimal. Let's compare that to accounting. Now before I even make the choice, you can see a preview underneath the names of each of these formats for what that cell is going to look like. Now it's hard to tell when you look between currency and accounting because they both look alike here, but watch this. Here you can see that accounting places the $sign way out to the left, while currency places the $sign next to the number. Now, looking at the decimal points, we might decide at some point that we don't want to see decimal points. Let's start with the accounting style, and we're going to peel the decimal points off. You can do this a couple of ways. Let's start from the number group of the Home tab. We'll use the decrease decimal button. Each time you click it, it peels off a decimal point. The button to the left of that is the increase decimal, and don't you know that that just adds decimals each time you click it. Another way to do a similar thing would be to right-click on a cell. Let's go to the currency cell, right-click, and choose Format Cells. In the Format Cells dialog box, we're taken to the Number tab, where we see all the different categories for working with numbers. And the currency format is already selected for us because that's already been applied to the cell. Off to the right, we can adjust the decimal places just by spinning the number up or down, or just by typing over top of what's already there. This also allows us to determine how we want negative numbers to be displayed. For example, if you'd like negative numbers to be displayed in red, or even better, in red with parentheses, just choose that. When you click OK, you won't see anything happen immediately here because this is a positive number. But in the formula bar, I'll just type a negative sign in front of the number and hit Enter, and here you can see that we have quite successfully controlled the format of the negative number. The number, currency, and accounting formats all have options in the Format Cells dialog box that allow you to control the decimal places or whether or not to use thousands separators. I'll check that box and click OK, and here you can see how that plays out. This corresponds to the comma style that you see right here. Well, let's try this out. Let's get down here to cell B12, where I have comma style, and just click the comma style button. Adds decimal points and commas. I don't like the decimal points, so I'll use the decrease decimal button to get rid of them. And now we come to the date format. So we're going to click in this cell and just type in a number. I'm going to type in 111900 and just hit Enter and watch what happens. Ta-da! Nothing. Okay? It's just a basic number. Excel hasn't done anything special with that, but I'm going to type it in a different way now. We'll go back up, select the number, and I'm just going to retype it. I'm going to put 1/1/1900. Looks like a date, doesn't it? Well, in fact, when I hit Enter, Excel says, hey, that's a date. And sure enough, if I go back and click on that cell and look up here in the number format, you can see that has certainly been formatted as a date. Now, can I control the appearance of that date? Sure. If I right-click on the cell and choose Format Cells, I can get into this dialog box where I have lots of options for working with the date format. You'll see the date category has been selected, and on the right-hand side, I can pick any format for that date I want. So let's say that I just wanted to see the day before the month and have the month abbreviated. 14 Mar, okay, there it is. So lots of date formats in there you can use. Long date, what's that? Well, let's do that same date again. 1/1/1900. I'll hit Control Enter to keep me in that cell without moving me down. And then we'll just use the drop down arrow in the number formats to choose long date. And this one just simply displays the day as well as the spelling of the month. But it's too wide to fit in that cell. That's why we get all those pound signs. So we're just going to double click on the border between B and C to widen that cell automatically so that we can see what's going on in there. Now in both scenarios, for the short date and the long date, all I did was type numbers that were separated by slashes, and Excel interpreted those as dates, and it automatically formatted the cells as dates. I didn't ask it to do that. It just happens automatically. So what this tells us is that the slash is some kind of an indication to Excel that I'm trying to type in a date, and then it performs an automatic format. And over here in this gray box, I've listed a couple other things that Excel will look at and say, I'm going to automatically format with that. One of those is a hyphen. So let's change this date back to general. And I'm just going to type in 1-1-1900 and hit enter. And sure enough, Excel turns that into a date. Let's go back and look in the number format drop-down box. There it is. It's a date again because Excel saw the hyphens and said, oh, I know what to do with that. All right, so let's take a look at one of these other ones. We'll get down to time. Now, if you pre-format the cell as time, then you can type a number in here, plus whether you want it to be AM or PM. So how about if we do 10 space AM? When I hit enter, then I get this entire date format here. And if we look in the number format box, you can see that it is, in fact, formatted as time. Now, I'm going to delete the contents of this cell and send it back to the general format. And let's try one of these automatic formatting options. How about a colon? If you type a colon after a number, let's see what happens. I'll type in 10 colon, enter. And Excel just converts that to 10 a.m. And lo and behold, it doesn't say date up here now. It says custom. Well, let's see what that's all about. Let's right-click on the cell, choose Format Cells, and inside the dialog box, we now see that, yes, custom has been applied to that cell. And over here is the format that it uses. An H for hour, a colon, and two M's, which indicate minutes. And that's what we got, the hour, a colon, and the minutes. We could easily change the format here by choosing another type. How about one that shows the hour, the minutes, and whether or not it's AM or PM? There are many ways to format date and time. How about military time? Lots of people like to do that. Let's right-click, choose Format Cells, and let's put this back into the time category, and then just choose this guy here. That looks like military time to me. Click OK, and sure enough, we get 1000 hours. Well, that's 10 a.m. in the morning. You can actually see that in the formula bar. Well, what if we wanted to make that 10 o'clock in the evening? Well, if you know anything about military time, you know that that's 2200. So we'll type in 22:00 and enter. And then we get 2200 hours. Click on the cell, look in the formula bar, and there it is, 10 o'clock p.m. I have more to say about working with dates, but we're going to wait for the next video to do that one. Let's move on now to take a look at working with percentages. Again, we're going to go back to the number group of the Home tab and just apply a percentage format to this number here. Click on the percent button and it becomes 25%. If we right-click on the cell and choose Format Cells, you can see that it now falls into the percentage category where we could add additional decimal places if we like. Cancel out of there. Let's take a look at fractions. Now, there is no button to convert this to a fraction here in the number group, but we could right-click on it, Format Cells, and then just choose the fraction option here. I'm just going to leave it set to default, and suddenly we get a quarter from 0.25. Now we come to scientific, and I'm going to delete the number that's in here. This is a 13-digit number, and I want to show you what happens when you type a number that's 13 digits or higher into a cell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. When I hit enter, Excel does this weird thing. It turns it into scientific notation. It's sort of a shorthand way of displaying the number. Now, you may not want that to happen. If you want this to go back to displaying a regular number, click in the cell and just change its format back to number, and then peel off the decimal places with the decrease decimal button. Now you might want to make note of that little trick because this has frustrated people for a long time. Once they see that scientific notation, they don't know how to get rid of it. So that's going to be a good trick for you to remember. Just put that in the back of your mind somewhere. Next we go down to Bob. Now Bob is still enjoying the general format, but we could apply a text format to him. Nothing changes. If you right-click on the cell, choose Format Cells, you'll see that whenever you have the text format applied, there are no other options here to mess with. So why would you even bother? Well, it's sometimes you want to put a number in a cell and display the number as text instead of just text itself. Why would you want to do that? Well, watch. Let's put this back to a general format, and I'll type a number in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, enter. Of course, the number aligns itself to the right side of the cell, as numbers do. But what if I had a product number that had leading zeros? How about 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4? When I hit enter, the leading zeros get stripped off and the number goes back to the right, because leading zeros have no value. So Excel just strips them off. But product numbers, zip codes, and employee numbers sometimes must have leading zeros. So there has to be some way to keep them in there. Well, there is. You just format the number as a text. So let's do that. We'll format it as text. Type in 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, hit enter, and Excel aligns it to the left because it's now text, and it leaves the leading zeros. It also provides this little green tick mark, which is there to get our attention. If you click on the cell and then hover your mouse over the smart tag that appears, it says the number in this cell is formatted as text or preceded by an apostrophe. Now, is there anything wrong with that? Well, no, because we told it to do that. But that little green tick mark there is just there to get our attention in case we may have made a mistake. And if you actually click on the smart tag, you'll be able to change that if you want to turn it back to a number. You could say convert to number, and Excel will strip off the zeros and send it back to the right again. Let's go down to the special format. The special format doesn't have an option in the number group, but you could easily get to it by clicking the down arrow and choosing More Number Formats. Well, guess where that's going to take you? Right back to the Format Cells dialog box on the Number tab. So you can come down to Custom and then just pick one of these 4 predefined custom types. Now this is a 9-digit number in this cell, which would probably be a good Social Security number. So if you click on it, you can see a sample here of what it's going to look like. Click OK, and Excel provides the hyphens. So you can do this for phone numbers, zip codes, zip +4. Custom format, you can do just about anything with this. We have a whole video coming on how to work with custom formats, but for now, let me just point out a couple little things you can do with this. I'm going to right-click on the cell, choose Format Cells, choose the Custom category, and I'd like to turn this 9-digit number into a Social Security type format with hyphens, but I want to type an SS to the left of the number. The way I'll do that is create a custom format. I'm going to get rid of the word general right here and type inside a set of quotes SS and a space. Now anything you type inside of a set of quotes is going to be taken literally and actually displayed just the way you type it in the cell. The quotes are necessary whenever you type in text like I've done here. The space is necessary because you need something to separate the SS from the number that's coming. Next we'll use placeholders for the numbers, pound signs. 3-digit number, followed by a hyphen, followed by a 2-digit number, hyphen, followed by a 4-digit number. Yep, that's the way they do Social Security numbers. Click OK, and look at that.